Ah, the winter season is approaching, and what better way to enjoy the coming winter months than to cozy up near a space heater and enjoy some relaxing video games. Alright, pulling this old boy out of storage. Let me just... one. Come on, honey. There we go. Oh god, it's just smelling burning dust. Sometimes people play certain games that remind them of winter, or games that reflect that feeling of weathering the cold. Usually survival games play that role pretty well for me, but sadly I already made a survival games video a couple months ago, and although I do have the urge to go back and play a couple of rounds of Vintage Story at the moment, I was thinking about a new game series to touch on, now that I'm finally out of the frictional games well. What to play, I thought. I have a lot of games that I would love to talk about, but there weren't really a lot that gave that winter feeling to it. Thief would be fun, but I'm not really in the mood to play it. Condemned was a good option, but I wanted to save it in case the sequel comes out on PC, and it looks like there's a good chance it might. Don't Starve would be a good survival game to talk about, but I don't know. But then a game caught my eye, a game that I'm sure a lot of people might remember. Metro 2033. The Metro series of games is based off the book series Metro, which the game likes to show off constantly. Metro is a series of games made by 4A Studios and published by Deep Silver. Well, at least the last two are. The first one, Metro 2033, was published by THQ. Eventually, they went bust, of course, but the license went to Deep Silver, as I said before, leading to the second game in the series and eventually the remaster, or redux if you want to call it that, of both games back in 2014. And if you're wondering why this game reminds me of the winter seasons, well, now don't you feel stupid. This game is very unique when it comes to Eastern depressing games that we know and love today. Think of games like Stalker. I actually like these kinds of settings for post-apocalyptic games compared to the USA's interpretation of a nuclear apocalypse. It seems like every country has their own nuclear OC.
Witness me, blood me! Witness!
And depending on my mood, I like the depressing Eastern settings just a bit more than the funny haha US version. They usually got a better vibe to them. Also, games like this and Stalker have a more supernatural interpretation of the apocalypse, with mutants and anomalies infesting the world with a strange feeling of decay festering throughout the games. And Metro is one of them. Some people say that these games are similar to Stalker, and when it comes to the mood, I would agree, but when it comes to the gameplay, not so much. Metro is a very linear experience, both in-game and in the world itself, and while I do see the similarities, and there are quite a few, I wouldn't say that this game is like Stalker, and honestly I would hesitate to say that to anyone who has played Stalker before this. But this does by no means make this a bad game. It's just that if you like an open world game, this doesn't really provide that open feeling. But apart from that, does the game hold up? Well, let's find out. But before we begin, let's talk about the problems I experienced. FOV is a problem, both in the Redux and the original, but to be fair, Redux doesn't really have an excuse here. I kind of feel like a broken record when I bring this kind of stuff up, but in this case it's a bit more of a problem than you would think. You see, I'm not your average gamer. I'm used to playing older games and dealing with the weird way that they do things. But this isn't an older game, this is a remaster. But the FOV is a problem in this game, mainly because you can't really change it. Well, to be more specifically, you can change it. It's actually pretty easy to do. You just gotta go into the files and change it to your desired number. Now all we need to do is play the game and... oh. Small infant boy. Boy. Yeah, so this game's FOV is a bit different than your average game. You see, most games, like Minecraft for example, tell you your horizontal FOV. This is what most games use and what people usually mean when it comes to FOV. This game doesn't have that. I felt that the FOV is off, so I decided to change it. I looked and it said it was at 50. FOV. Hold on, I need to show you guys what I just fucking puked over. Look at this. Look at this. This is the FOV. 50? No. 90. 90. Thinking that this number was heretical, I changed it to a more holy number, which kind of broke the game a bit. Oh, there's some visual glitches. Most likely because of the FOV. Because this game doesn't use horizontal FOV, it uses vertical FOV. Some games have a vertical FOV option, but I very rarely see it without its horizontal counterpart. In the config files, it was using vertical, which seems simple enough. I just have to convert it, and Jesus Christ. I just guessed and I put it at 60 or something like that. It looks fine. Besides the FOV, the game also has a few visual glitches. Certain textures flashing, things disappearing, ragdolls freezing. These things didn't happen too frequently. Or maybe I was just too busy to notice. But this might also be an FOV thing, as I didn't really run into these problems until I turned up the FOV. So, who knows. One thing I don't think was caused by the FOV, though, was the crashes. Oh. Game crashed. To be fair, it wasn't frequent, but it happened enough to potentially be a problem for some. It never really bothered me. I'm pretty easy to make laugh when stuff like this happens. It depends on how much they fuck with me, but if there's a wasp near me or a spider near me, I don't fucking want any part of it.
So the next station is D6.
It just makes me chuckle. Anyways, onto the premise.
I was born in Moscow, but I remember nothing of that time. I was just an infant when the old world was destroyed in the flames of nuclear fire. I, along with 40,000 others, were saved by retreating to the metro stations deep under the city. Now, 20 years have passed, and going up into the embrace of an endless winter was left to a few brave souls. The metro was our home, and our fortress against the nightmarish mutants who roamed the tunnels. Still, we never gave up hope that we would return to the surface. But one day, a new threat appeared, and we found ourselves in a war to determine the very existence of our species.
You are Artyom, a boy who dreams of more, living in the Moscow metro station. The surface above, irradiated years ago by nuclear war. The inhabitants of Moscow went into these metro tunnels to save themselves from the radiation and, you know, the big booms. Everything is fine, you know? I mean, they're surviving off of a population of 40,000. Conditions are terrible, it's cramped, there's Nazis around somehow, but everything's fine, you know? There was always hope. Until the Dark Ones arrived.
It's so sad Steve Jobs died of ligma.
Who the hell is Steve Jobs?
Ligma balls.
The Dark Ones are a special breed of mutants that started to kill or mentally incapacitate people throughout the metro station, specifically Artyom's home metro. Your friend, Hunter, decides to go to Polis to inform the council of these Dark Ones infesting the station.
The devil knows what's happening out there, beyond your perimeter. I must go recon the situation. Listen carefully, Artyom. If I'm not back here by morning, you must get to Polis Station and find a man named Miller. Tell him what's happened to me, and what's stirring in the northern tunnels. Show this to Miller, so he knows I've sent you. I trust everything to you, Artyom. Don't let me down. If we are to survive, this threat must be eliminated, no matter the cost. Eliminated. Understand?
After your friend Hunter turns up missing, or worse, you take it upon yourself to inform the council and save your station from the Dark Ones. And game begins. The art direction here is top-notch. Exploring around the stations that you find really gives you a feeling that this place is lived in. It also shows how cramped and shitty the conditions are, although there are still those who try to make the best of it. But then you see the parts of the metro that people shouldn't be in. Yeah, things get creepy real quick. You'll find bodies just lying there without their face torn off, wondering what happened. Graphically speaking, it doesn't look too bad. Although you can see some old-looking textures here and there, and certain characters do look kind of wet or really shiny for some reason. I don't know. What the fuck is wrong with his lips? This game does also have some janky animations. Metro was never really known for its good animations. Even the latest in the series has issues with this. It's not even that bad, it just looks off at certain points. But this never ruined the art style. If the goal of the game is to show a dirty, grimy, and depressing setting, then it passes with flying colors. Both the original and the Redux are actually pretty good. Although I do prefer the original's art style, this one isn't too bad. The most outstanding example of the art style is, well, the guns. Now I'll admit, I might be a bit biased here, because as you all know, I'm American.
Weapons are part of my religion.
But the gun designs in this game are just flawless. Funnily enough, because they look very flawed. This is a universe where people are scavenging and creating shit out of boxes of scrap, and these guns really reflect that. What the fuck? Why did you do that? Why did you do that? Even some of the newer guns that you get towards the end of the game do this. These guns look amazing and really show how desperate and ingenuitive the people of the Metro are. My favorite part is that certain guns keep an ammo count that's in the magazine, and you can physically see how much is in the magazine. The lighting is great too, but this is where we get into the big differences between the OG and the Redux. I'll get into more of it in the gameplay section, but just to address this right here. Originally, I liked the lighting in the original compared to the Redux, but there's a bit of a trade-off here. You see, the original is a lot darker than the Redux. Now, I actually like this change. The Metro is it's a fucking metro station. It's supposed to be dark, and flashlights and night vision should be necessary tools to navigate. However, the lights that are in this game are bright. Like, really bright. And the darker areas that are in this game are very dark. When it works well, but when it doesn't, it kinda gets frustrating. Especially when it starts fucking with the gameplay. Then it's kinda just a nuisance. Either way, when it comes to the Redux, the lighting is more what you would expect. You can see in the dark fairly well, but it's to the point where night vision and flashlights aren't really necessary to navigate. So while I would prefer if the dark was actually, you know, dark, I can't say that it's entirely a bad thing. Anyways, let's move on to sound before I get an aneurysm. On to sound. The sounds in this game can go from terrifying to borderline hilarious in a moment's notice. To be clear, the sound effects aren't terrible, but they kinda reuse a lot of them. And some of them you might actually recognize if you listen hard enough. But the soundscape is kinda just basic. Well, very basic, actually. Look, there's a lot of stock sound effects used in this game. There are even some that I know from Half-Life 2. It's not all bad, of course. The ambience is pretty creepy, at least when it tries to be. I don't know why games like this do creepy shit, and it works far better than in most horror games I've played. I'm pretty sure the reason is because this is supposed to be a fun shooty bang bang game, and you aren't really expecting the scares, but Jesus Christ, does this game have its moments. And there's one place that is teeming with atmosphere, and have me panicking left and right because of the sound.
You were here, that's good. We were worried. Now remember what to do? We need to get to the military archives. It is somewhere beneath the main library. Now, we can reach it through the main reading hall, alright? Now freezing here. Let's go.
The library is a building on the surface that has some information that you and the Ranger Order need in order to save your home station. To avoid spoilers, that's as much context that I'm gonna give. In the library, there are these mutants called the Librarians, who work a little differently to most mutants. Most mutants are just out to get you. With a vengeful vendetta, they hunt you down and try to kill you, but they don't have guns. Come on, keep her coming. He's making his way around. And he's gonna be coming straight ahead. So it usually doesn't end well for them. But the librarians aren't killed so easily. How to describe them? Think of it like you're fighting a angry, meth-addicted silverback gorilla. That's the best way I can describe it. There is a way to get past them, but my partner in the game didn't tell me how!
I'll try to come back as soon as possible. Go.
Did he tell me about the beasts? I don't remember him telling anything about the beasts. What did he say about the beasts? What? What did he say about the beasts? Was I not paying attention? I thought I was doing a good job. So I was forced to ask my friend that I was talking with while finishing the game how to deal with these guys. He said to look at them and don't shoot. Easy enough, right? I don't have anywhere to go. Don't do it. Oh, fuck that. All right. Okay, they're just fucking with me. They are clearly intelligent. They're like luring me into traps. This is why I don't trust animals outside of dogs or cats. The other one's just fucking plan shit, and I don't like it. It's definitely one of the best parts of the game, so I won't spoil too much, but point being, these guys are scary, and the sounds and environments help out a lot with that. Now back to the rest. There are just a lot of nice touches that build the atmosphere. For example, you can hear distant gunshots on the surface, distant howls in the tunnels, strange singing in the pipes.
We are here. Come closer to the tubes and listen. Just don't stay for too long.
I need a medic bag.
Some say it's the voice of the tunnels. Others consider it to be a form of psychic influence.
Music in this game, however, I never really noticed except for the one that goes like "Tukitidu." I like that one, and it's the one I noticed the most, but other than that, I can't really think of any other tracks that caught my eye or ear. Really, the game is mostly quiet, with music only popping in during combat, which does add to the atmosphere quite a bit. You're kind of left alone in this quiet wasteland. That's all I really noticed, when it came to sound at least. Gameplay is pretty fun. In all honesty, this game has really nice parts to it. In combination with the world, it makes for a very dire setting. But there are a few hiccups here and there. But to start off this little adventure, let's go over your equipment. You have a portable charger that is used to charge not only your flashlight, but also your night vision when you get your hands on it. Medkits for when you're hurt. A gas mask along with some filters, needed for irradiated areas like the surface or when an area is just a bit too stinky. The filters do have a time limit on them, but to be honest, I never ran out of filters or was in any danger of running out. And of course there are your weapons, and there are a lot of them, but we'll get into that in a bit. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know how to segue this, so I'm just gonna move on to enemies, if that's okay with everybody. The enemies in this game come in two varieties. The peeps. He saw that, he fucking walked away. And the mutants. Oh. He's frozen. He's frozen. He's frozen in place. Is that a bad thing? Should we worry about the frozen mutant? The peeps are the people. They have a couple factions that they could be a part of. The Reds, the Bandits, the Nazis. How the fuck did Nazis end up in the metro tunnels of Moscow? Seriously, did somebody find like a fucking book or something?
There's a black capsule in my ammo pouch. What is that, an antibiotic?
No, it's cyanide, in case the enemy captures you.
They can come armored, but that never affected them too much, unless it's in the OG, in which case, prepare to have people survive some headshots. And then there are the mutants. They come in a couple different flavors. There are the lurkers. I fucking hate these guys. Move too fast. The Nasalis, the Watchers, demons.
Some people call these demons. I call them bitches.
That was a really good one, man. And of course, the librarians. Oh, not to mention the spiders, but they're kind of a weird inclusion, considering that they are in the Redux, but they aren't in the OG. In the OG, they're kind of replaced with these Nasalises with this black carapace armor. I don't have any footage of it because OBS was a piece of shit. Those are the main bad dudes, and honestly, the game wasn't too hard compared to what I'm used to with most FPS games. Of course, that doesn't mean that it didn't get tense in some sections, and especially towards the end with the spiders. You want to know what true fear sounded like? That was it! I know he's gonna come from over there. You fucking lord! Stop! Fucking hate those things, man, I swear to God. By the end, not only was I geared to the tits with medkits, filters, and ammo, I also had a surplus of military-grade ammo, because there was no shops for the last hour or two of the game. How many gay bullets do I have? Using some gay bullets, fuck it. Fucking 600 of them, might as well. Jesus. Now, I hope you'll forgive me for going into the economics of Metro 2033, but the military-grade bullets do require a bit of explanation. So, in line with American ideals, this game has a currency known as bullets. The idea here is that in the Metro, the most valuable thing is ammo, specifically military-grade ammo. The people in the Metro make what is known as dirty bullets. These are what you'll be firing for the majority of the game. There are also military-grade bullets, both of which you can swap out. If you want some more firepower, then use some shiny bullets. If you want some cool shit to give you an edge in combat, like new guns, filters, medkits, the works, you'll need to spend some bullets, specifically military-grade bullets to do so. Now, I'm not sure if this is a hot take, but I actually kinda like this system. Not only is it a neat idea, and it also shows what it's like in the Metro, the most valuable thing here is bullets, not money. People are so desperate that they don't want a piece of paper that says $20. They want something tangible, something that they can use to protect themselves. That's why I'm kind of bummed that the later game, Metro Exodus, doesn't have a system like this. Not only would it still make sense in the game world, but I would assume that there are others who would want to make a living selling stuff. It's one of the world's oldest traditions. It would also bring back something that, at least to me, was very iconic to the Metro series. But to be fair, I didn't really use the bullets for combat too much since, you know, money. But on lower difficulties, it might give someone a bit more lenience to use the good bullets. But enough about the economy, let's get back to the actual meat and potatoes of the game. Guns give a nice feedback, and there is a wide variety to choose from, leading to a wide variety of playstyles. Sniping, close range, stealth, and somewhere in between, there is a weapon for you. Sometimes they're hidden away for you to find. Most of these hiding spots aren't really hidden, though. They're just kind of out of the way. This game is pretty linear and doesn't leave much for exploration. Not to say that exploration doesn't exist. God knows on the higher difficulties it's required to beat it. However, the original is just a lot more closed in. You see, Redux also adds a lot of stuff to the original. Safes, new areas, new weapons. Whether or not this is a bad thing, I leave to you. All I know is that the Redux is a little more open and encourages exploration more than the original. All while adding more weapons, making the game easier to handle, and removing and adding content kind of seemingly at random. I could be here all day telling you guys the differences, but I'm lazy, so here are some of the main ones. Cutscenes are present in the OG. Redux, in an attempt to make it more immersive, has the entire game take place in the first-person perspective. -1 point. Some of these cutscenes are goofy, and you made them boring. How could you do that? You made the goofy cutscenes boring. Not to mention it adds first-person animations. Something the OG didn't have. Minus another point. Certain character models are replaced with different ones. Most of the characters don't really stick around too long and aren't really that important, so it's not too big of a deal. But how could they replace Flamethrower Guy? He looks so insane, and they just replaced him with a fucking bullshit balaclava wearing bastard. Minus a point. Certain weapons work differently. The ones that I noticed were as follows. You cannot aim down sights with the Shambler. You cannot aim down sights with the Railgun. The Shambler has a funky reload. Shambler's aim was replaced with a melee attack, and that doesn't really work. You have specific weapon slots in the original. In the Redux, it's just kind of whatever. This one is also meh for me. At least this difference. They replaced the voice actor for Artyom on the Redux. I'm not going to assign points here at all, but I can understand why people like the OG. Which do you like more, you know? It's like different flavors. Would you like depressed Artyom?
Hunter did not return. It wouldn't be easy to find an excuse to leave the station and travel to Polis, but I had given my word.
Or action Artyom.
But I had given my word. I learned that the caravan was heading to Riga the next day and needed guards. I signed on for the ride.
These are obviously not all the differences. Like I said, you could make a video filled with all the differences. But which is better? The Redux or the original, in my opinion? Well, I was kind of joking about the whole points thing. But there is something that the OG does better than the Redux that does make the OG worth playing. The art style. When it comes to a remaster, it's not uncommon to see the art style fucked with. Sometimes it's negligible. Other times it's not. The art style in the Redux just isn't as good as the OG. However, and you might hate me for saying this, but I think the Redux is just kind of overall better, and I would recommend newer players to play it. Mostly because of 3 things, but let me get into the 2 main things that are holding the OG back. The lighting and the stealth. But trust me, I'm not saying this lightly. You get it. But look at it from my point of view. I played the original after I beat the Redux on Hardcore mode. Now, I assumed that the difficulty would be the same. I was wrong. At least, it doesn't feel like it. I think it has to do with the stealth. The stealth in Redux is, well, good. There are sound traps in the area that require you to be careful where you step. If you step on some glass or hit the cans on a string, then it will make noise and the enemies will come to investigate. Taking them out quietly is a good strategy. You can use throwing knives and silenced weapons, along with coming up behind them for a stealthy takedown. And even if someone yells out, you can kill him, and the enemies don't just beeline to your position. They go through the area, try to find you, because as long as you're using suppressed weapons or an air gun, they don't know where you are. It's pitch black for them. If you're fast enough, you can actually get through an area taking everyone out one by one in quick succession. Sure, it's a bit easy, but it's a good, if not decent, stealth system with occasionally dumb AI, which does leave you feeling like a bit of a badass. But what about the original? Well, the game sets it up in the same way. You see, the Takar was my favorite weapon in the Redux, so I'll just clear these guys out and... oh. I see how this game is going to be. Yeah, so the stealth in this one is basically non-existent. There are a couple reasons for this. One of them seems to be that there's no stage in between undetected and detected. There's no caution status, if you understand what I'm saying. You see, if you make a noise in Redux, you get the, huh? What was that? They look around, and then if they don't find you, you're undetected. In the OG, there isn't really a quote-unquote caution mode. If you make a noise, you're just spotted. Although sometimes they do get into a cautious state, but they don't really calm down. They just keep looking, and it's almost like they have different levels of perception. It's weird to describe, but trust me, it's strange. There really is no way for me to do any of this anymore.
Shut up.
See, now they're just heading down here for no reason. I have not moved. Because, like, look. They're just looking for me. They just know I'm here. How do they know I'm here? I have no clue. I don't know what I did. But they know I'm here. Sometimes the enemies will detect you in pitch black darkness. Sometimes they will shoot you before you see them. Other things make it very tedious, like how the effects and small lights in the area make night vision kind of useless. Scopes have this glint, and the scope is kind of dirty, which makes them very unclear and hard to use. Helmets and gas masks block headshots, and if you shoot someone and they don't die, you're spotted, so you can kind of see how that's a bit of a problem. And not to mention, enemies surviving headshots can be really annoying when you don't have the ammo to spare. All of these things kind of just make the stealth a little bit shitty. That isn't to say that the Redux is perfect compared to the original. The original has better atmosphere and art style compared to the Redux, and certain weapons just work differently as well. There are also cutscenes in the original and a tank boss fight that the Redux removed. Redux adds a bunch of first-person animations that I could honestly do without, but it also adds some new areas that encourage exploration. The shops are different as well, and honestly, I kind of miss the shopkeepers. They were kind of quirky.
That's a deal.
There you go.
As you wish. Medkits, filters. Oh, throw your junk away. That's for babies. Are you joking?
I love how they say that.
Exactly the same.
Your gun is for babies!
The best gun in the world.
The only difference is that this one has a scope. The original has preset guns you can buy, but the Redux has a more user-friendly design and lets you customize your weapons instead of spending 100 bullets on the same fucking gun and the same fucking scope. Well, you might be saying, the original, while flawed, does have some pretty different changes compared to the original. I would sure like to play it. Well, you see, there's a bit of a problem with that. You can't buy it. It's no longer available on Steam. Why? I'm not sure. I found some speculation, but there really isn't anything concrete that I found. Unless I just wasn't looking very hard, which wouldn't be surprising. All that I know is that you can only buy the Redux, and unlike the Last Light Redux, this one has a lot more drastic changes compared to the OG. Now, I don't like this. There are quite a few aspects that are different enough from the base game, and I don't like that the only way to buy it now is to either pirate it or buy a copy off of G2A. And it's a bit inflated over there. Besides, there isn't enough here to warrant spending 30 to 50 bucks on the original. The Redux is pretty good, and in my opinion is almost a direct upgrade gameplay-wise. I still enjoy the visuals and style of the original, but all things considered, I enjoyed playing both, but still preferred Redux's gameplay decisions. If you're just now getting into the series, then just play Redux and forget the troubles. The differences, while annoying, don't justify an inflated price. Overall, I had a lot of fun, and I was reminded why I liked these games in the first place. It's been a long time, but I'm glad I'm playing these games again. I wish the remasters of games wouldn't change so much. It would definitely make my job easier. Well, I don't really get paid to do this, so... Depending on the game, of course, I think that they should just make it playable on modern hardware and leave the graphics alone, at least when it comes to remasters. Otherwise, you get things like the Master Chief Collection. Sorry, I think I need to take a shower. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Have a wonderful day. Hello everybody, I just want to thank you first off for watching to the end of the video. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate all of you guys, even though I probably don't say it nearly as much as I should. This video was also weirdly lacking in any motivation. I had a lot of fun with like making it. It's just that, I don't know, this happens on occasion, and it sucks too, because I was going on a really good streak, but maybe that was because those games were relatively short compared to what I'm normally, what I'm playing now, which takes a good deal longer. But either way, I hope you guys are enjoying yourselves, enjoying Thanksgiving, as right now this should actually come out Thanksgiving morning. Currently it is 12:14 a.m. so I hope you guys are enjoying and filling your stomachs full of meat and turkey and all that kind of stuff. More stuff is coming. It will probably just take me a bit longer to actually, get it out. So I appreciate your guys' patience, and I appreciate all of you guys who have stuck with me so far. I really do appreciate it, and thank you very much.